Hey, everybody, and welcome to You, Me, and the Trinity's Christ Connections and Conversations. Tonight is Mind of a Man. I am so excited. Always love to get our men's point of view on things. And so tonight, we got a little different thing going on. We got a new host, my brother, my friend, Preacher Tim. He's standing in for Coach J Hart, who was unable to make it tonight. Preacher Tim, say hey to the people.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is having a great day so far. Looking forward to being the fill-in host for today.
Okay. All right. So, Elder Kim.
Hey guys, hey everybody. I am Elder Kim. I am one part of Yumi and the Trinity. Um, one half of Yumi and Trinity. One part of Christ Connections and Conversations. I am just excited to hear from the fellas tonight. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, guys.
Hey,
Victor.
Good evening. Good evening. It's grateful to be back on this call tonight to to change ideas to give my feedback. I'm coming all the way from Arkansas, Palm Bluff, Arkansas, where I pastor Cherry Street Memorial AME Zion Church. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you for joining us. Brother Seawood, you want to introduce
What's
yourself?
up, everybody? My name is Otis Seawood. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm glad to be a part of this dialogue and to impart and to gain some new knowledge.
Thank you for joining us. Preacher Tim, we're gonna let you hold it down, man.
all right. As stated, I am Timothy Davis, aka Preacher Tim, from Memphis, Tennessee. Orange Mound bound. Got to throw that in there, for those of you that know about that. So, most definitely, got to represent for the mound.
Thank you for joining us. So, tonight we're diving inside the mind of a man. We want to know what you guys think and feel about various situations. There's no topic, no subject off limits, and we want the real you. Just answer the questions to the best of your ability. Preacher Tim, you are going to be the moderator. I'm going to fall back, and we're going to let you fellas do what y'all do.
Okay, okay. So I'm basically just asking anything.
Anything on your mind, brother, within reason. Keep it clean, preacher Tim. Keep it clean, my brother.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, okay. All right. Well, we're gonna get it started. We're gonna get it started. So I would say this is definitely the question that I want to ask my brothers, and that is where we currently stand. I'm assuming because I know I'm single. So are my brothers, my other brothers here, y'all are single as well.
I'm not I'm not single. Um, so yes, sir.
Okay. Doc Seawood. Okay. So I guess here's a question that I definitely want to ask the fellas. And I think that this is still even a good question to ask, for the brothers that's not single. But I guess in 2021, what would you say uh, is a difficult part about, say, finding or maintaining a love life that is satisfactory to where you are in your life?
That's a great question. I think Ebony. I think Kim also knows my background when it comes to dating. I was in a relationship after relationship. Some of it was made public, and um, I desire to be married. I desire to have children and things of that nature, but I don't desire to settle for less. And I put myself in some dating situations where I was trying to make women into something that they wasn't. And the particular person I'm with now, she fulfills me. She adds more to me. our relationships is long distance. So me being in Arkansas and her being in Grand Rapids, Michigan, is a challenge. But it's a challenge that we both take traveling back and forth over the air. I mean, over flying and things of that nature, because that drive is about 13 hours. But I can say this from a dating perspective that this person is worth it, and she fulfills me, and she adds to me where I try to do with other women I've been with. I don't have to do those things with her. So 2021 dating experience to me has been life, has been rewarding. And if you had asked me this about 4 or 5 months ago, I would have said something totally different. But now I can say that the person I'm with, he meets me halfway, if not more than halfway. So that's how I'm dealing with the dating situation in 2021. That someone that really wants to be with you, someone that really wants to support you. I think when you have that, you can't go wrong.
Okay. Okay. Doc Seawood, what's your thought process on that?
I think I agree with him. I think when we look at dating in 2021, we are looking for some truth and some seriousness. I think a lot of men now are looking more so toward trying to find that good thing. I think a lot of times we've had some time to reflect on, even during the pandemic, what is that good thing look like for us? I know for me, particularly, I'm not just dating to date. I am dating to go to the next level. And you have to find some compatibility, but also some communication too. I think a lot of times in our relationships, we're missing certain things. We're missing communication and compatibility. And sometimes we are not really looking at what do we both bring to the table. More so is what does she bring? What qualities does she bring? But do I even match up to what she has? Or what am I looking for? Are we compatible? So I do agree with him on that.
Okay.
Now, Tim, you answer the question.
Man, well, for me, I am, a single man. And I think what's interesting is for me, I became single at a very interesting time in my life. I got married at 24 and got divorced at 34. So getting, and I hate to use it. And so please hear me out when I say what I'm about to say, because it's not gonna end as bad as it may start. But coming out of a marriage after 10 years, it's kind of almost like going to jail for a certain degree. And what I mean by that is, how a person who say may serve a 10, 15, 20-year prison sentence, it's like when they come out of prison, the world looks so much different than what it did when they first went in. And so it's like now they're having to get acclimated to a whole new world. Technology has changed, life has changed, new buildings have been built and things of that nature. And it's like, wow, when I went in, things were this way, but then when I came out, things were totally different. And so it's like now I got to try to get adjusted to this. Well, it's the same way with getting married at 24 and then getting divorced at 34, getting back into the dating world after 10 years. A lot of things just looks different to me. There's a lot of principles that I believed in and still do believe in, that it seems like some of those things have kind of changed in the minds of a lot of people. So it's like, you know, like for example, in my younger years, if you like somebody, it was okay to just say, "Hey, I like you. I really like you. I'm into you. I want to date you or whatever." But now it's like it's this thing where you want to show interest, but you don't want to look too thirsty. So it's like I gotta get your attention by holding back on giving you attention. It's like all of these different things. It's like, wow, I'm just not really used to this. So, just kind of trying to figure out the tone of the way things are now as opposed to, you know, uh in 2004 when I first came off the market. It's like it just a lot of things just looks different to me. Um a lot of things that I held in high regard, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal to a lot of people anymore. And so it kind of makes now trying to find someone whose mindset matches mine, that's a very difficult thing. And it's like, okay, you wonder, am I A, supposed to just keep searching for that? Or B, am I supposed to adjust and tweak the way I think, to try to find somebody, in this new realm of dating?
So let me ask you a question. Um, how do you guys personally feel about the love and relationship experts that are men that are giving all of this advice to women about love and life and relationship? I don't know if you guys follow like Derek Jackson or whatever, but he's one of the main like gurus that a lot of dudes weren't really feeling him because they felt like he was giving away the code and giving away the game to the women or whatever. When it comes to life and relationships and all that stuff, guys felt like he was a hater. So how do you guys feel about men that only give love and relationship advice to women? They never have anything to say to give feedback to the fellas. Like, do you feel like it's a gimmick? Is it a game? Because with him, he for years has been giving out like all of these love and relationship tips and how a woman should never settle for less and don't be with a dude that's cheating on you. But he just got caught cheating himself. So a lot of women are looking like, okay, is this a gimmick or is this real? How do y'all feel about a man that always gives relationship advice to women, but never have anything to say to the fellas?
I guess I'll go first. Hi, if everybody don't know me, I'm OJ. I apologize for running late, technical difficulty.
It's okay.
But for me, I personally do not have an issue with it. I think oftentimes, especially in this generation, people are so attached to what they see as a meme or homegirl saying they're so quick to share it. And oftentimes it is an unrealistic type of thing that they may have. And I think like I don't 100% agree with Kevin Samuels for one, but some of the things he does give out is truthful to an extent. But I mean, there is no one size fits all for every situation that pertains to dating and meeting new people. But I do believe that there are some hints that I'm okay with him giving them, and I feel like I do the same thing with my sisters that I call my sisters and my biological sister, and even my little sorority sisters and anybody else that come in contact with me that ask me questions about why do men do this? Why do guys act like this? I mean, I'm all for it. I wish there were more avenues for men so that dialogue between the women could definitely connect them.
Anybody else?
Um, I would say that I think everyone knows that he got caught cheating, I guess, in his own bed. And to me, I think men need to hold other men accountable. It's one thing to tell a woman the game on the men and things of that nature, but it's a totally another thing to hold each one of us accountable. And what that means is I believe, and I'm gonna go out here and say this. I believe that a woman can watch a man grow up in a home and things of that nature, but I believe there's some things that a man has to teach other men, and that's one of those things of dating and things of that nature. Because once we go out here and we have a reputation for this and we lose our credibility, not only does that hurt him, but it also hurt other men that's really out here seeking and desiring to have a faithful relationship, seeking and desiring to have that faithful woman. Now, so not only does that cause damage there, but also, like I said, causes damage to just men in general. So I believe that a man should not only speak to women, especially the daughters and the sisters and the cousins in their lives, but they also should speak to the men as well. If we expect women to this, there'd be some things that a man should expect another man to do, especially if you have a daughter, especially if you have a mother and a sister that's out there in the dating world that's not marrying, things of that nature. You want to make sure that you are representing what you want that person to be for your sister, your mother, or your nieces or whatever else like that. So it's one thing to focus on one gender, But as a man, I believe that you should focus on both because men sometimes have to make other men accountable. Men sometimes they say, "Hey, your stuff ain't right. Hey, you don't stink." I'm grateful that I have a circle of friends, male mentors, and just friends that will let me know, "Hey, Victor, you doing it wrong," or "Hey, Victor, this ain't good." For example, um, this weekend, um, one of my friends told me, "Hey, you should just leave your woman unattended, no matter if she says it's okay or whatever. No matter if you're hanging out with the guys, it's still, still make sure that you're around." And he told me that from the sincerity of his heart. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying. I might not agree with it, but I definitely understood what he was saying. So I believe that as well as we talk to women, we do need to talk to us fellas as well.
Tim, anybody else?
I mean, I when you first presented the question, I don't know why, but for some odd reason, another individual whose name came to mind was Steve Harvey, right?
Mhm.
We know that for years, he's been the guy who, was, I guess, the go-to individual for the advice on love, especially as it relates, to women and what they should expect from men or whatever. Now, I think on one hand, we do have to understand that no individual, while they may have good information, we have to understand that they're still people too, which means that while they're giving good advice, that doesn't always mean that they're going to make the mark every time with it themselves, you know. But then the flip side to it is there are times where it does sometimes come off like a gimmick to me, in my opinion. You know, it's kind of like it's a part of the business. You understand, you know your demographics. You know that, okay, so my audience is, say, single black women between the ages of 25 and 45. So then it's like, okay, well, how do I continue feeding them content that will keep these people buying into, what I'm presenting? And there have been times where, to me, it does kind of seem like it can be a gimmick at times. um Now, don't get me wrong, like you said, I'm not judging any individual, by what they do, but sometimes the things that we do and the way that we behave outside of the advice we give, sometimes it brings into question, do you really believe, you know what I mean, what the advice you're giving everybody else? Because if you actually believed it, then there are certain things that may be a little different, as it relates to how you move or how you get down. So, yeah, for me, it does sometimes come off as gimmicky, you know, uh, but sometimes we buy into it not necessarily because of the advice that's being given, but because of the individual that's giving it. It's like, well, if this person is popular or if this person has a big name and they, whatever, sometimes we have a tendency to listen to them just simply because of who they are, but there's individuals out there who may be less famous, have less money, but can give more sound, advice and actually be examples of that advice. But sometimes we tend to shun them because their name is not as big as the individuals, that's out in the front.
This is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, fellas, first I want to apologize. I'm having horrible connections tonight. But the ladies got a question. Um, love, loyalty, or respect? Which one is most important?
All of them. It's a combination. In my opinion, it's a combination of them all. Because if you don't got love, but you call yourself got loyalty, then you got to have some type of love to have loyalty, and then respect. You don't got respect. It's like, well, how you gonna be loyal? So it's a combination of all three of them, in my opinion. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good, homie.
I think out of those three, I would think respect first. Now just sitting here thinking about it, because if you're with someone that you respect, that means that you won't put yourself in certain situations that you didn't when you didn't respect the person. So because I respect the person I'm with, I'm going to make sure that I show her through my love. That's action. And I'm going to show her through my loyalty, meaning that that person shouldn't have to worry about anything or everything that I'm doing, no matter how far we're apart from each other. She should have a secure or safety spot to realize that I'm going to respect her. And because I'm going to respect her, that means I'm showing through action of love and loyalty. I believe that you can't have three without having respect. That's my feeling on that.
Bro, OJ, what's your thoughts on it?
I'm really trying to think about that one a little deeper because, um, I mean, of course, they're 3 and 1. I guess in the eyes of me, they would come as a trinity in that, because if you love me, you'll respect me, but you can lose respect for me. I can respect you and not love you. I can respect you, I can love you, but not be loyal to you. So that one is definitely a tough one. Honestly, I probably would say respect first. And
Yeah, that's why that was the
yeah,
reason why I said it was a combination of like all three of them together, because it's almost like you can't really. It's so tough. It's like a double-edged sword type thing, because if you respect somebody, um, the loyalty. You can love them, but you ain't gotta respect them, or you can respect them, but you ain't gotta really love them. So it's to me, it's like a double-edged sword type question, because that's why I say I think it's a combination of all of them. You got to have a little bit of all of that in order
yeah.
for you know.
You know what? With that being said, I want to ask a question, and I want uh my brother Seawood to go first, and then we'll go from there. And that question is, with that being said, what does love look like to you? Like, because everybody has a different thought process and a different definition of what love actually looks like. So, just in your own words and your own thoughts, starting with you, Bruh Seawood, then we'll go to Vic and then DeVale and then OJ. What does love look like to you?
Well, love to me is more of a it's an action word, but it's shown through action. If I love somebody, I would do my best to be able to show them my love. Also, when I look at love, I look at how I want to be loved. I want that same energy. If I'm gonna throw it out, I want that same energy received. And I think sometimes we look at it like with the question about love, loyalty. I think it's all a trichotomy. It all works together, and they all evenly flow. Because if I love you, I'm going to respect you, and if I love you, I'm going to be loyal to you. Now, even if I love you and I mess up, I'm still going to be loyal to you, even through my mess up. I'm gonna work on it, and I will still be loyal. So I think it's a continuous effort. So when I look at love, I look at the sacrifices that we give each other, and I think that's one thing that a lot of times in love we got to look at the sacrifices, because we can love somebody and we gonna make some big sacrifices if we truly love somebody. Especially when the rubber meets the road, we gonna make some sacrifices that we probably ever thought we would never ever make. So when I look at love, it's how I want to be loved as well.
I will piggyback off of our good brother. Um, I believe love is an action word, just like what brother just said. I also believe that our Western culture has made love into something that it was never meant to be or never intended to be. And what I mean by that, as we're talking about relationships, our Western culture say unless you love a person, you shouldn't be with them, or unless you shouldn't marry them, or and things of that nature. But we know that love is an action word, so that means that you have to do it every day, a different action every day to show that you love a person. And when we look at the Bible, when we look at Ephesians, we can see the characteristics of what love would do or what love won't do. I think sometimes we say we love someone, but we don't really know what love is. And that's because sometimes some of us males haven't been trained or never shown what a love was for a male with another woman. Or what I grew up in a home where my dad wasn't in the house. My mother wasn't remarried, and things of that nature. So it wasn't really until I looked at my grandparents' relationships over 60 years that I started to find out what love really was and what love really looked like. So to me, I would say love is definitely an action word that you do daily. And love to me is where you put other people in front of you, especially the person that you with, and before your own love. We're naturally born selfish people. And sometimes because we're naturally born selfish people, we tend to put ourselves first. But love would say, hey, if I love this person, I need to put them first and then go from there. So that's what love looked like to me.
Develop. Hey, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh well, I think love is so broad. Like it's so broad because it depends on the individual you're dealing with or who you're involved with. It also depends on yourself as well. But it's so broad because sometimes it depends on the person you with. She can feel like love is you providing like you providing. Like she could feel like love is physical. She could feel like love is mental. So it's so many. I think it's a who you're dealing with. I think it's the person who you're involved with, which will determine how to love that person, because everyone has their own perspective of the word love and what love really is. Some of us growed up with single parents, and some of us growed up with both parents. And I'm quite sure some people seen the love and some people seen abuse. So and didn't know if the abuse mean love. So it depends on, that's why I say it's so broad, man. And I just wanted to touch on that because it's not just one way to love. It's and that's my take on it basically.
Okay.
As for me, one of the things I tell people is whenever we discuss different types of love or whatever, and all these different things, especially if it's terms to our faith, the Bible does mention that, but God says, but the greatest of these is love. And that's when he's talking about all the commandments, all the rules, and everything that he has. And he still talks about, he said, but the greatest of these is love. So that means in everything that we do, we still have to come back full circle to love. Now, what does that mean to me? That means that if I love you, I will serve you. I'm one of those guys that's very big on the love language. That means when it comes to dating, I should get to know you. It's not just I love you because I'm next to you. I love you because you can make me feel good, because I can talk to you. It's really just understanding what makes you feel good. Now, for me, words of affirmation is something you tell me, baby, you look good today. Baby, I appreciate you. That's my word. And if I give you that and it doesn't affect you and you it feels like you're not loved, then I'm not loving you the way that makes you feel that way. And for many of us, especially me coming from the country, we were all taught, I love you because I gave you food. I love you because I gave you light. I love you because I gave you a car. Now, those are actions, but they're not the appropriate actions to show what love is. So whenever we're trying to figure out how to love someone else, we do need to recognize what it is that we love about ourselves, but it's also learning what our partners need as pertains to love.
Can I say
Okay.
this right quick?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I say this right quick? Because I agree, totally agree with what he just said. Especially on how can you love someone if you don't love yourself, right? We try to tend to get in relationships to say I love this person, and we really forget that. I don't know about you. I think I said it before, but one of the things I'll always say is when you get on the airplane and the stewardess or the steward tells you instructions, they say take this oxygen mask off and put it on yourself first. And they said if before you help anybody else, you got to put it on yourself first. And I think that's what really love is, right? It's like you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And someone that's common that say love is sacrifice. Even when we look at the greatest sacrifice, and that was Jesus Christ being put on the cross, dying for us, that's an example of the love that we have to accomplish in our everyday lives, in our everyday relationships with the women that we're with, or even with our family or with our friends. Are we willing to sacrifice? Not just give them an item and things of that nature. That's not really love. Anybody can give you anything. But what are you willing to sacrifice out of your way to make sure that the other person love? And really the only way you can really do that is by loving yourself.
That's good, sir. I like that. I'm gonna use that. I hope you patent that.
Yeah, because that was a very good analogy. So I'm gonna have to use that in a sermon. So now the first time I use it, I'm gonna say your name, but then every time after that, when I say it, is mine. So just I'm just letting you know.
It's all love.
Absolutely. And I want to say this too. For me, when I think about love really is not even apparent or evident until the person that you're loving is in their most unlovable stage. Um, and the reason why I say that is because when we look at God and His love, if you notice, His love was always determined by the sacrifices He made for individuals or groups of people who did not even have the wherewithal to love Him the same way. His love was always evident when it came to loving people who were not really lovable. When we think about the children of Israel, they spent most of their time doing the exact opposite of what he told them to do. But yet his love was there. Even when we think about Jesus Christ down on the cross, he did it for individuals that did not really love him. Even the Bible says that God commended his love toward us, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And I said that because of this. A lot of times, and I can speak for me. I can speak for me, and I'm willing to be transparent. Several years ago, my thought process about love was very skewed in a lot of ways. Uh, because especially when it came to relationships, I would find myself meeting women and then finding myself developing feelings for these individuals, and I really didn't even know who they were. It was just, ooh, they make me feel good. Oh my God, I just love her and da 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 da. But watch this here. A lot of times when we get in relationships and we say we love people, we're saying it based on how that person makes us feel at that moment. But we fail to realize, what if we marry that person and they have, like, say, a terminal illness? Now you got to clean this person, you got to bathe this person, you got to feed this person, you got to drive them to their doctor's appointments and all of these things. That's when the love is really, whether it's going to either be exposed that it was never there, or it's going to be exposed that it's really real. Because just like the comment was, and that's love is sacrifice. A lot of people claim that they love people, but they really don't want to make the sacrifices. I actually married a couple a few years ago. They got married, everything was all whatever. 6 months after they got married, he ended up finding out that he had cancer, and she left because she said, well, I just don't have it in me to be with someone who's, terminally ill. Okay, so did you think that he was going to be on the up and up every day? You know what I mean? And a lot of times we lose sight of the fact that these things may happen, or, what happens if this person is not able to do for you years down the road the things that they're able to do for you today. And so to me, I think that love is exposed when the times are critical, because anybody can say that they love you when y'all can hold hands and walk in the park and hug and kiss and every day is just a good day. But when life happens, what does that really look like at that point? And so yeah, so for me, I think that love is really more apparent, because love, lust, and infatuation sometimes on the surface can look alike. It really can, you know. And once again, I don't mind being transparent. In years prior, I've met women and be like, "Oh my God, I love her. Oh my God, I love her. Oh my God, she's the one, I love her." But then after we lay down, I'm like, maybe I don't. And that's because I was operating in something that I thought was love, but it only ended up being exposed that it was really just a lust thing. And so sometimes I think we have to check that, what am I really operating in? Is this love, lust, or infatuation? Because sometimes it can look the same, and that's real.
I like to add into that, man, that a lot of us love preconditional or conditional,
Yeah,
uh, a meaning that I'm gonna love you until you can't do nothing else for me, or I'm gonna love you while everything's going good. But when it's time for that them trials, time to get down in that rock bottom experience and things of that nature, you can honestly say who loves you or who doesn't love you. My testimony, I was sick for 5 years with this nasty disease called gastroparesis. And this gastroparesis it destroys your stomach. And every month for 5 years straight, I was in a hospital for about a week at a time. I lost my military career. I was pastoring. I got set down because I was sick. I was literally destroyed because of my sickness, from people that said that I thought cared about me, from people that I thought would be there for me. And in that time frame, I really began to see that they loved me based off who I was at the time. They loved me based off what I could provide for them at the time. They loved me because who my name was in the city. But after I fell rock bottom, I began to see what love really was. It's like, yo, a lot of people love you based off of preconditions, or the conditions that you can give someone, and that's not love. Even when we look at Christ's ministry, Christ did not have to die on the cross. If you remember, he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, "This take this cup away from me. Let
yeah,
this be your will." He didn't want to die, but he said, "God, if this is your will, I will sacrifice because I realize that this is not just about me; it's bigger than me." And when we begin to look at the way that Christ loved the church, and our first church is our families, our wives, our girlfriends. When we begin to love that unconditionally and not preconditionally, I think we begin to actually start to love.
that's good. That's good.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So here's a question I want to ask the brother. So now that we've, given our insight on what love looks like to us, I want to ask each brother, what is it that you have inside of you that makes you feel that you have what it takes to love, particularly a woman, the right way?
Good question. Um, I think at some point in our life, we have to understand that as we're just now understanding and saying even more, that it's never really about us. So when you have come to the point that I can get rid of my selfishness and be willing to accept someone, even at their worst days, be able to accept them, proves that you can be ready for that. Now, of course, there's going to be trials, tribulations, there's going to be differences, there's going to be understandings. It's a lot that comes with that. But for me personally, I feel like at this point in my life, I've grown so much to understand that it's never really about exactly how I feel. And that still ties into what we're saying. Definitely, as I'm getting older, I'm learning how to hear not just the words that are being said, but the words behind the words and the actions behind the words that many will say that can get missed. And I'm very guilty of that in my past, to where women would say something to me and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. And I just blow it off like it's not anything important. And then something happens and it's like, well, I've been telling you for weeks. So I think the ability to clearly hear behind the words and not just hear them saying something that sound like it's nagging, that definitely shows the growth and the maturity that I think I've come a long way in that.
For me, I believe um, it took a certain situation, but I've learned the difference between empathy and sympathy. And I know that might be weird when it comes to love, but I've learned the difference between having empathy for someone and sympathizing with them. And I think I learned that through all my life crises that I've been through, all my life disappointments, from broken relationships, from broken friendships. But I'm able to understand when I counsel someone, or especially a male or whatever, and they say, "Well, my wife ain't doing this and my wife ain't doing that," I ask them, "What are they doing?" And what I mean by that, right? Women tend to model what they see from their significant. I also believe a lot of us have took the mentality of playing the victim role. Well, this person do this and this person do that, but I've learned that if I look at myself in any situation I'm in and see what part that I played into anything, I've learned how to be better. I also saw that I never believed this, but when they said that a woman knows how you love them by based off you love your mother. I love my grandmother. My grandmother is definitely important person in my life, my backbone. But it was until I really started to love my mother and forgave my mother for things that I thought she did or didn't do and things of that nature. When I began to love her for her and understand how I did things and what put her in positions to do the things because of my own actions, I began to love love better and love the woman that I'm with because I've learned how to love my mother. And I think that once we begin to look at our relationship with our mothers or relationship with the women in our lives, and we begin to also understand what empathy and sympathy is, I believe that's what set me apart and able to love someone unconditionally, and not play the victim role, but also say what part did I do to make her happy, what part I do that didn't make her happy, how can I change? I tell people don't go into relationships trying to change someone because you'll never be happy. But the only person that you can change is yourself. So once you begin to change yourself through love and things of that nature, you begin to love another person even the better.
Absolutely. Brother DeVille.
Yes, sir. For me, it's communication for me because I used to have a hard time communicating or trying to understand what that person feel like or was feeling like at the time. So for me, um, I matured. I think the maturity came and helped me understand more, and I learned how to communicate and also ask the question of what can I do better to um, get over whatever mistake I made or whatever I done to make a person feel a certain type of way. I learned how to ask the question, well, what can I do better, or how would you like the situation to be handled. So it was all about communication for me. I know everybody have their own opinions and own analogies on how they perceive the situation. But as for me, it was basically I can just say communication, man, because it goes a long way. And sometimes you got to learn how to deal with the hard conversations. Because you're gonna have hard conversations, so you have to have somebody who also know how to communicate and learn how to have those type of conversations. So the patience, the patience, and learning how to communicate with my partner is a big step for me. So that's what I'm leaning on.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. I think for me, um, what I think puts me in a position to better love a woman is actually finally taking some time to learn who I am. Um, I spent many years bouncing from one relationship to the next. As a matter of fact, um, probably from the age of 16 years old, I've always been with somebody. Um, and like I said, I'm one of those type of people. I don't mind being transparent, especially if it means that somebody else can learn from what I've the mistakes I've made. But me and my ex-wife actually got married 2 weeks after I had broken up with another young lady. Um, and honestly speaking, me and my ex-wife, we were not dealing with each other while I was in there. This was just somebody I was cool with. 2 weeks after me and this young lady broke up, I was like, hey, I think we should get married. She was like, boom, okay, cool. We get married. We stayed married 10 years. Probably a month before my divorce finalized, I was already dating somebody else. And then after that relationship didn't work, by the time that relationship went bad, I was already dating somebody else. And so many years of not taking time to myself, I just found myself bouncing from relationship to relationship and just taking problems from the previous relationship and just dragging it right along with me in the next relationship. Um, but I've been single now almost 5 years. Yeah, almost 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And in this time, I've learned some things about myself that I really didn't know. I've actually healed from some things that I didn't even know I was hurting from, you know. And as a result of that, I'm now in a position where I can actually emotionally offer a woman the best of who I am. Because I've actually had that necessary time to just really learn who I am and learn what, like you said, like bro Victor said, learning what parts I played, in previous relationships, instead of always saying, well, this person did this and she did this and she did that. But I had to sit down and say, okay, but nah, bro, you were the one who did A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. Um, and I think also, lastly, taking time to learn also meant taking time to heal. Sometimes we're hurting and we don't even know we hurting. We be acting out and don't even realize that we're acting out as a result of hurt. Um, and we're dealing with hurt that we don't even realize is there. So I think those things, definitely puts me in a better position. And then lastly, um, understanding my respect for God. Like me, my respect for God is in such a way that, let's just say I'm in a relationship with a woman, I'm gonna do right by her, not just because of how much I love her. I'm gonna do right by her because of how much I love God. You know what I mean? Because there's gonna be times where I may not be feeling her like that. There may be times where we ain't on the same page. But my respect for God is, and my love for God is gonna cause me to do right by her, even if, we're not necessarily seeing eye to eye. So I think those things definitely make me, a much better candidate, for love and relationships, you know. Um, so Another question I want to ask the brothers, then, just kind of running off of what we've been talking about, from what it appears, you know, a lot of women, and rightfully so, they want security. They want the security of knowing that a man has the ability to support them, to provide, to protect, all of the things that we know that God has called men to do. But as men, sometimes we want the security of knowing that at any given time, if we're unable to meet the mark in those situations, that woman will still love us. With that being said, do you think that it is okay for a woman to date or marry potential? You know, say for instance, a man, he's a good man, but let's just say he may not be financially where he wants to be or desires to be, or maybe even needs to be. You know, um, is it is it okay for a woman to still love that man, or should that man, for that matter, even be seeking love if he's not necessarily where he needs to be in his life at that time? And we'll start with Brother Victor, and then DeVale, and then Brother Horace.
Um, when you were saying that, I was thinking about the proverb scripture to say, "A man that find a wife find a good thing and find a favor in the sight of God." And to me, although we do find favor, I also believe that a woman can find her blessings as well in a man. What I mean by that is a lot of, from personal experience and from things that I've seen with my own eyes, a lot of women are sometimes judgmental. Meaning, if a guy doesn't have a car, if a guy doesn't have this and have that, doesn't have that, they kind of overlook them because they feel like they're not in a position where they can confidently take care of her security wise. But I've also found out some of those men might just be going through a season and not always been like that. And what I mean by that is, for 5 years I was sick. Before I was sick, I was in the military. I'm retired from the military. They paid me for the rest of my life. I make great money, not bragging, nothing like that. I don't have to, I'm 37 years old. I don't have to work a day of my life if I don't want to. But while I was going through sickness and things of that nature, if I was trying to go out there and date, they overlooked me because they saw what they saw at that time. They didn't know what I had in the bank. They didn't know what was came with my, came with benefit me. They saw what they saw. And I believe sometimes when women can get out their own way, they're not talking bad about a woman or anything of that nature. Sometimes when a woman get out their own way and give a guy a chance, they can understand, say, hey, you know what, he ain't that bad, or hey, you know what, this guy got more going on for me than someone that I would have imagined being with. So I don't think it's wrong for a woman to date based off of potential, because hey, after all, men date off of potential as well. Potential of being my first lady, potential of carrying my kids, or things of that nature. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with a woman dating off of potential. My only thing is I don't know a lot of women that do date off of potential, and that's probably what could become the problem.
As for me, I'm with you on that. Like, I don't think it's wrong for a woman to date. I mean, this my thing about that whole question that was asked. Um, a man can provide, right? He may not make as much money as his partner make, which is the female, right? So do that mean she shouldn't date him? You see what I'm saying? So at some point, everybody has the right to be happy with who makes them happy. So I can provide and I don't have to make as much money as she make, or I don't have to have as much as she have, but I provide and I make her happy. So, with that being said, I don't think the field really have to be equal, or I don't think the man have to make more money than she make. Because in some cases that is the case where the woman might make more money, but sometimes you got to look at this right here. The person that make her happy is probably less educated, only can do certain type of jobs and and things of that nature, but he provides and he makes her happy. So what's your feedback on that? Because that happens a lot.
Was that question towards me? If it was, what was the question?
Timothy, Mr. David.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I asked that question is because of something that Brother Victor said. And that is, man, from my experience, I know a lot of sisters do not give brothers the same passes that we give them. And what I mean by that is, I met a young lady one time working at Crystals, you know, flipping burgers at Crystals. She was an attractive woman. She appeared to be a gentle spirit. And I was like, man, I was willing to shoot my shot. She worked at Crystals, but that didn't matter to me. You see what I'm saying? But the flip side to that was, I know without a shadow of a doubt that if I was the one behind the grill at Crystals flipping the burgers, she probably would not even given me a second look. You see what I'm saying? Because for me, my thing is I don't care where you are. I only care that you have a plan to at least desire. My thing is, okay, I don't care that you work at Crystals, but the question is, do you want to stay at Crystals? Or if you do want to stay at Crystals, do you plan on maybe one day owning a Crystals as opposed to, so for me, I can see a woman that work at Crystals and that's not going to bother me. She can work at McDonald's, that's not going to bother me. But a lot of sisters going to be like, I don't know, he don't have what it take to, you know, and I can say from personal experience when I went through my divorce and had to move back in with my folks for a little while. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even I didn't even really want, or shall I say I didn't have the confidence to really try to date a whole lot because I always knew that they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're a nice guy, da 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 da." But as soon as I say I stay at home with my folks, I know that conversation is over. You know what I'm saying? And that's just honest.
Now,
That's just realistic. Yeah.
I've been minding my business. I've been minding my business. But what I'm not finna do is let you get up here and lie on these women like this. I've been dying here producing. I've been minding my business. But I had to come up into the conversation because brother preacher Tim, you are not telling the truth because it's a lot of women who give men those same passes because women in general, we are nurturers and we see all that potential. Like, you know what? Yeah, he might be doing X, Y, Z in the third, but he got hopes, he got dreams, he got plans. And you know what? I'm a pour into him because that's what happens. So don't you get up here and be like women don't give men the same passes. That's not true.
And I think it's preconditioned again or conditional, right? And what I mean by that is if a woman finds a man attractive, she gonna willing to do some things that she ain't gonna do if he was not attractive. And that's just being real. You can't. That's just being real. We can speak from.
Women like that too.
No. We can speak from a man's perspective, right? And our perspective is this: that if I'm walking on the street, broke down or looking busted or whatever, and I'm trying to holler at somebody that's beautiful, she probably gonna pass by me. Why? Because first of all, I got all those already negative things going across me. Now, if she find me attractive, she might sit there a little while longer and might try to figure out if she can help or whatever. So I'm not gonna say women are not nurturers. But y'all are nurturers, and it's preconditioned though. If he's attractive, y'all gonna be willing to do something for him because y'all think he's attractive. But if he's not that attractive, there gonna be moments, and there's women that don't overlook some guy, right? For instance, when we talk about current day, right? There are some cities, some states. Let me say it like this: there's some cities, some states that you don't need to have a car in. There's some cities and there's some states that you don't have to have transportation in. But at the same time, there might be a woman to overlook you because you don't have a car. Where you live in the city that has trains, metros, bus, all that stuff, or you living at home, like Tim said, at your mama, not because you want to be there, but because your situation has placed you there. Well, I can't come in your house because you live there with your mama and things of that nature. So yes, men tend to look over all those things, but women are prejudging and they are preconditional, and we don't get the same passes that some men give to other women. Now me, I'm choosy, I'm picky. If I got this together, the woman that I'm gonna date, I'm gonna be with, or marry, gonna have this together, and that's not because it's my preference. But I'm just gonna say, y'all are choosy. Y'all do pass. Y'all do pick.
Y'all, I mean, so okay. Okay, so if y'all, you walking down the street with your boys and you see this girl, she busted and disgusted. I mean, what you gonna do? Hey, how you doing? You want to comment too?
This is one of my big brothers. His name is Ephraim Nilly. You want to say something?
You want to say something? Go ahead, say something. The floor is open.
I don't know anything about women. I'm just listening, trying to learn.
Oh my goodness. Well, y'all know what? I'm gonna go back to my business.
No,
But
you stay right here. No, you stay right here because I'm gonna tell you something. Now, let me say this. Now, of course, we know that there's always exceptions to the rule. So, of course, I'm not gonna sit here and say that no woman will give a man that. So, I dare not say that. But what I will say is that there are some things that a man is more likely to give a. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is no lie. This is no lie. I met a young lady one time that was like real deal homeless. When I say real deal homeless, she was literally what it was. Me and my church were out feeding the homeless, and
Hey, can y'all hear me? Because I can't hear nobody.
yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't hear you guys. I don't know what happened.
But yeah, old girl, she was real. Our church was out feeding the homeless. And this young lady got in line to get a plate. And she was like so attractive to me, right? And I didn't care that she was homeless. I was like, man, I was like, you know what? You are very attractive to me. And I was like, I was wondering, like, could I meet up with you maybe and take you out? And her answer was, I got somebody. I was like, oh wow, that is so and right. No, that's not a bad thing. I'm glad to hear that. But now can you seriously say that if you met a man standing in a homeless shelter line for food, that you would date him, that you would give him an opportunity? Because
You
I
want
was
me to
willing to.
answer? You want me to answer as a woman? Now, I'm like my bro Victor over here. Now, I ain't gonna tell you no story. So, I mean, like, I got a job. So like, I got a job. I'm gonna need you to have a job. There's a couple of things, that when I bring my table, that I sit on my table. So I need you to
Listen,
be
I
able
don't know
to
what
bring some
happened to
stuff
my
to the table
sound,
too.
but I cannot hear anybody. I can't hear nobody. So
Hey,
I'm kind of
brother,
like,
brother DeVale, log
don't know
off
what to
and then
do at
log
this
back
point.
in. Log off and log back in. But so no, I don't know now what I would do. like I would talk, and we could have a little conversation. I give you help you get some resources to get back on your feet. But just taking you from the homeless shelter to the house, that ain't gonna work. So sis, Preacher Tim, Preacher Tim said he read this shit at the homeless shelter, and he said homegirl was pretty, she was attractive, and he asked the audience, she was like, hey, I got somebody. So he's like, if you meet somebody, you serving food, we going out, being holy, doing the work of the Lord. And you meet this brother at the homeless shelter, what you gonna do with it? Because I tell him, like Brother Victor said, he need his significant other to have what he have, and I'm like, Brother Victor, like
I can't take on no more charity cases. I'm sorry. I will see you on Saturday at noon when we come down here with the church and bring you this good meal and this box of hygiene products. But
Victor brought up a good point though. But Victor brought up a good point though. What if that's just the season that they're in at that moment?
Well, you know what? At that moment, then you are just an assignment. I will pray with you. I will, push you. I will encourage you. But what you can't be is my man. You can't be my man.
That's what I'm saying. It's a blessing, right? Because everybody goes through the season, right?
Yeah, we can do. But you know what?
But Victor's gonna be missing his season too. You gonna be missing your season too, bro.
When you go through your season, don't you think that that's the time where you need to be working on you? Dating probably should not be something that's on your mind. You should
not right here. It needs to be down here.
But listen, all of us is a work in progress, right?
We are.
Hold on, no.
Wait, sis said she don't do homosexuals.
We would never be finished until our name is called.
You're right. You're right. But I'm sorry.
So hold on. If we are in a work in progress, right, Kim and Ebony, if you saw this dude and he was your cup of tea, you're gonna do whatever you can to make sure that you help this person. I promise that's just women, right? Because Ebony said herself with nature, right? But there has to be something in the game in order for you to do these things, right? And that's just being honest. So if that's not the case, the statement that Ebony said there's other women out there that don't do passes or don't be out there choosing is now in the void because you two just said
no. You ain't giving wait, brother. You ain't even giving the same pass that I said I wasn't giving. Camille, you on the same level right there. So Tim, stop brushing your hair on the line.
Hey, listen though. 99.9% of the women are gonna respond and give the same answer that Kim just gave.
Hey, OJ, you wanted to say something, didn't you? Hello, OJ wanted to say something.
All I'm gonna say is we read this scripture and we always look at it a different way. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink.
I did my part.
Listen to that though.
I'll come down here.
People did not perceive him as who he was in that season. But only one person did, and that person got blessed because they did what they were supposed to do in that season.
Hello, ain't nobody dating him out here working on projects. I'm gonna give you something to drink.
I'm going to help you.
I'm gonna help you.
I get you,
you
but
be my man in that season of your life.
This is what I'm saying. I just want to say that just for fun, anyways. But in all seriousness, I know women are Angie. I get that.
Thank you, Angie.
But what I'm saying now, so if we want to play that role, if we really do want to go that role, it's okay to be in a Tyler Perry movie and watch the lady that was mopping the floors that get with the owner of the multi-billionaire business and y'all clap for it. But my brother has to mop floors at McDonald's and he don't make enough money because he can't provide. We got to keep, I get relationships and dating is not fair. I completely 100% get that.
Nah, he wasn't working at McDonald's. He was working at McDowell's.
Man, you stupid.
But what I'm saying is, now again, I
understand
exactly what you're saying.
That y'all ain't willing to do.
No,
don't ask me to do nothing
Hear me clearly. Hear me clearly. Let me get my point out. Okay. Now, I completely understand what you're saying about men, and I hear women say this: men have to be the providers. Men have to be providers. Men got to be the head of the household. They got to provide. Now, provision for you can look different from provision from her. Provision for me could, if I'm a woman, provision could be I just need to make sure I got a house. I don't care if it's 6 bedrooms or 1 bedroom. I just need shelter. I don't care if I eat hot dogs or lamb chops. I just need food. That's your provision. That's what we can do. And in this season, I'm going to enjoy where I am because I, one, understand that blessings come when I do what I'm supposed to do. And taking care of what little God has given me, he will multiply me with many. 1. 2, men oftentimes, as much as many don't want to admit to this, when we get with something that we're supposed to be and divinely connected to, oftentimes we are pushed and parachuted into another season of another blessing, and we end up growing because of the things we're connected to. So our women are doing better than us. Oftentimes you can call it ego, or you can call it just real deal drive instilled in us by the people that we're connected to. We tend to improve what we got going on. Now, somebody just said don't use the Bible and some bull. I'm just being honest. It depends on how you look at the perception of the story. You can mix and mingle however you want to, but at the end of the day is we're not perfect. But at the same time, we still have work to do. Now, men do oftentimes take women that don't do what we would accept or what women would accept from us. Let's keep it a bean. Very few women will accept a dude that made $25,000, but we will take somebody that's attractive to make $25,000 and be completely happy with it. And it's not a control factor. It is not a manipulative factor. It's because that's who we enjoy to be with.
But she may add to you in other ways. Like
she gonna add in other ways. But you know what? But hold up, Sissy. I'm finna go ahead and shut it down because I usually keep my business to myself. I usually keep my business to myself. Go ahead, OJ. I got something that's gonna shut this whole conversation down in just a minute.
So you don't think somebody that's struggling making $10 an hour at McDonald's can bless your life? That dude can really pour into you to help you get on.
Y'all said a homeless man that's in the shelter. Now,
right.
That's not the same thing.
That was just one example. That was just right.
No, but see, that's the thing though. And let's keep it real. Like you said, we're gonna keep it a bean. Let's keep it a bean. We as women almost always settle for less than what we actually really desire. Why do we always and I don't mean to sound mean or bitter, but why do we always have to just settle for whatever just because that's his season or whatever? Like why? Like come on. Why we always gotta be the ones to come through and save the day? If you are in a situation where you
ain't got no answer,
everybody has fallen on hard times. But when I fell on hard times, when I was homeless, a man didn't help me. I had to get it out the mud myself. Didn't nobody come to my rescue but Jesus.
I don't think.
But let me say,
hey, Kim,
and I got something to add about them passes too. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's that y'all always have to settle. I think we settle way more than you guys settle. We settle way more than you guys settle. I think men settle way more than women settle.
Houseway?
Because y'all ain't really gotta have nothing. Y'all ain't really gotta have much. Y'all, you can look like something when you step out, but you can live with your mama. You can catch an Uber to work. You can do all of that stuff, and a man will sweep you off your feet and bring you into his home and his castle and take care of you. So 100%. I mean, most men settle way more than women settle because
women in your circle.
A woman is real picky about who she want to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? So you ain't got to be doing as good as the man, and he'll easily come in and scoop you off your feet. But you is not going to scoop nobody off their feet. You already done said that.
Okay, so look at him.
Hold on, let me say this real quick. I want to say this. I promise I'm gonna make it real quick. I swear to God. But watch this here, because Elder Kim made a very, very interesting statement that I want to address. She said, "Why do women have to settle?" She said, "When I was homeless, didn't nobody help me. I got it out the mud myself." Here's the thing, and that's dope, and I applaud you for that. But let me say this though: every man that you meet that ain't financially where he want to be, he don't necessarily need nothing from you. You see what I'm saying? And that's where some women mistake it. Okay, a lot of women think, oh, okay, well, if he doesn't have a job at this moment, or if he doesn't have his own place, all this fixing to be a dude I gotta take care of. Okay, but maybe he don't need nothing from you, but just somebody to converse with and somebody to love. I know when I went through my divorce and I moved in with my folks, I had to let a woman know, baby, I don't need to drive your car. I don't need to spend the night at your crib. I don't need to borrow a few dollars from you because guess what? I'm a hustler, so I'ma always make sure that I get it. However which way I got to get it, I don't need nothing from you. The only thing I need you to do is hug on me, love on me, kiss on me, and know what I'm saying, and make me feel like, know what I'm saying, like I'm special. So
And
that's
a better day coming.
And let me
exactly,
say,
know what I'm saying, and that's all I'm saying. Every nigga that I'm sorry, every man that you meet, every man that you meet that's not where he want to be don't necessarily need you to help him. You know what I'm saying? For
let me
real.
say this, and let me say this, and I'll shut up.
Companionship.
Segment,
That's
right?
good.
Um,
That's good.
I think Tim said it when he asked. He put the word security in there, right? Most women want to feel like they are secured, and if they don't feel like they are secure with a man, no matter what he has or doesn't have, he's gonna get overlooked a million times before
Like
someone
you
that they
said
feel
something
like
then.
before somebody that they feel like they can secure, right? If this man and I right and I hate to say this like this, right? But being a pastor, right? This is just being a pastor. Women are attracted to leadership. Women are
Bingo.
attracted
Yes.
to authority,
We
right?
should be.
And being a pastor, a single pastor at that time, I had all kind of women flocking over, right? Not just because of who I was, but because of the title
Yeah.
pastor, because of the prestige that came with it, because of the limelight that comes with it and things of that nature, right? And my thing is, when I say this, don't take this the wrong way, right? As a pastor, I always told myself, I'm not going to marry no ugly duckling. And what I mean by that is, I see a lot of pastors marrying some ugly women, right? But some of these ugly women are okay to these men.
Hey, Pastor, don't be judging now. Don't be judging. Don't
I
be
ain't
judging,
judging.
Pastor.
I'm just being real, right? We the mind of a man, right? I'm just being real with you. I'm just being 100% real with you, right? And I think sometimes it is because of that security that women see, right? They know that even some of the pastors are ugly with some beautiful women, and they find
I'm
the
gonna go.
security.
I'm gonna go.
They find the security. They're like, oh, okay, he might be ugly, but he can provide this. He might be ugly, but he pastor of this, or he might be ugly, but he the CEO of that, right? I mean, they're just being real, right? Women look for security. They don't care how it comes. They do
Okay, that's not
lower
true.
their standards sometimes based off the man's position, based off the man's power, based off the man's authority. But they will have it. They will, in my opinion, most women will love their man to be this and this and this. But when they say they lower their standards or whatever else like that, to me is because not the security, but because what he looks like. Men, yeah, we look at the beauty before we look at anything else, but we overlook a lot
What's
of.
your feedback on that?
I've been in some positions where I dated women knowing that I wasn't gonna be happy. I dated women knowing that I'm gonna have to take care of her and they 2, 3, 4 kids and all the rest of that stuff. That's some things that men do because we're providers. That's because hey, she's my beautiful and we can see how we can help her and things of that nature. But man, we don't get that. We don't.
But not every woman desires a man of. Not every woman desires a pastor or a CEO or whatever. Some of us just really just want a man that can meet us where we are and we can walk out the will of God for our lives together. You ain't got to be rich. You ain't got to be wealthy, but you do have to have a good head on your shoulders. You do have to have some ambition. You do have to
Can he
have
work
some
at
hustling.
Christmas?
So hold on. Can he live in a shelter?
If he yeah, can he work at Christmas? Yeah, can he work at McDonald's at night too? Because I don't care where you work.
Can he live
I
in a
don't care
homeless?
about that.
Can he live in a homeless shelter?
He can live where he want to live. Not in the
That's the baseline of the statement.
Exactly.
So
Can I bring up
look.
something?
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Miguel.
Go ahead, OJ, because I've been
hey,
holding this statement a long
Go
time.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go get a job at Crystals, man.
Do whatever works for you. But listen, women, you said something about women want to be secure. Yes, we do, but that security is not always financial as y'all think it is. Financial security adds to that. That's great. But I'm divorced. The majority of the years that I was married to my husband, I made the most money.
Mm-hmm.
I made the most money.
Mm-hmm.
When I met him, I didn't care that I made double what he made because he provided me at the time, he provided me emotional
Mm-hmm.
and spiritual security.
And
He helped to make
physical.
me
And physical. Don't leave that out. Don't leave
Okay.
that out.
okay, physical. He was what I needed in that time of my life. He provided that for me. And okay, and since I don't really tell my business. I've been married twice. So when he came in and provided stability for the son that I had at the time, that was what I needed in my life. And on top of that, that past that y'all been talking about, when I met him, he had not been too long, came out of a relationship where he was living with the woman, so he was staying with his mama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and until we got married, he stayed with his mama. We dated a year and a half. It is what it is now. And then now we're divorced. I have 2 children. I take care of me and my own kids. When I'm dating a man, I don't ask him for nothing. I don't expect him to provide anything because I, Ebony Lachelle Smith, handle my business.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because that's what I am as a woman. I'm going to handle my business. We always going to be straight. So any man that comes into our life is coming to add physical, spiritual, and emotional security. Because I
He
can
just
take care of me.
he just can't live in a shelter.
Financially.
He
No,
just can't.
he can't stay in a shelter. I don't live in no shelter.
What?
But listen though, I know
So-
some. I know some men that they live in a shelter because of some unforeseen circumstances.
And
Doesn't
I
mean- but
totally
that doesn't
understand
mean,
and respect that.
listen, that doesn't mean they don't get up and go to work. They don't mean that they lazy or whatever.
You're
They
right.
just going through a
You're
situation,
right.
right?
I know several men like that.
But y'all can miss y'all blessings because he live in a shelter.
Well, you know what?
I'm not saying that I won't. Okay.
That's what you said.
I'm being for real. If you live in a shelter, I can't do it.
I will be his friend,
I'm
absolutely,
his friend.
and I will do whatever I can to, help him get out of that situation as a friend. But I will not romantically entertain a man that lives in a shelter.
And they wouldn't either. I don't even know why they on here arguing with us like that.
I almost did, but she had somebody.
Hey, Victor, listen, Victor. Hey, I know you trying to get him to go there. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't date that ugly duckling. You ain't gonna make it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So we got a man over here that's being honest. Oh, yeah, you got something you want to say? So we'll keep talking.
So I found something in one of the comments that I was definitely trying to bring up in my portion of what I was saying too. And it was Miss Tisha Johnson. She said, it depends on her love experiences that determine her financial requirements of a man. Mm-hmm. So even in the dating world, when we men approach somebody, I've been told this a bunch of times, and it's not even just from like the 6-figure women. This is from the women that's throwing boxes at FedEx and UPS and stuff like that. That if he does not make X amount of money, I'm not fooling with him because I've dealt with enough broke N-words in my life. So for me, we can't say that. We don't say that. Women will say that, and that's y'all can get away with that.
I know a lot of men who done said that. Tell you the truth.
Let her be fine. Let her be fine and see what that standard do this.
There you go. That's attractive. There you go.
It's about preference.
That's about preference. Now let me. I do want to say this, because I do want to make sure that I'm being fair. I want to say this for the record.
For the record,
it is nothing wrong with a woman who says a man needs to be established before he can have me. And the reason why I say it's nothing wrong with that is because a woman, especially our Black women who have been uncovered, unprotected, and unserved enough, a woman, especially our Black women, deserve a man that can give her some security and stability. But what I am saying though is that a man who is in his down season in his life should not necessarily be overlooked. And also, let me say this for the record too, because I also know that some women have been burned. You know, they poured into men that when that man finally gets on his feet, he goes and give his love and affection to a woman that didn't spend half of her time sacrificing like the other woman did. So I can understand how a woman who has been burned can say, okay, I'm done doing that. But the flip side to it is there are some men out here who are just at a place in their life at this moment, but you never know, with just a little bit of love and encouragement, not necessarily giving him money, not necessarily letting him drive your car, but just love and encouragement. You never know what that man could blossom to become and then turn around and serve you the way that a godly man is supposed to serve a woman. That's all I'm saying.
I said that I will be his friend. I will be there to encourage him and help him in whatever capacity that I can. But I mean, let's just be real, y'all. I'm 40 years old. I don't have time to be steady starting over and starting from the bottom with people. Like if
Oh,
I
you
had
still
to,
young. You still young.
listen, I might feel young or look young or whatever, but like I've been at this thing for a long time. I became a mother at 17 years old. So I've been building and establishing for other people outside of myself. My son will be 23 this year. I don't have time to go backwards. I don't have time to try to pull somebody else up. Like my thing is getting these kids. My kids are pretty much grown. If I'm gonna get anybody together, I'm gonna get them together. I'm gonna get that 22-year-old man I got in there together so he can go out there and not be having to live in a shelter or depend on another woman. I'm gonna do that with my son. I don't have that kind of time to do that with a man. I'm sorry. I just don't.
I get it. That's what we equate to. That's what the 2020 terminology was called, struggle love. I get what y'all are saying.
Yeah,
No struggle love.
I believe me, I completely agree with what you're saying. I understand that we men have to bring something to the table because to be a helpmeet, we should have something to help with. We can't come to the table without a rib to give. We should be able to give you a rib to be able to help create you and establish you to make this thing work. I get that completely. But it was never. But it was just the premise of what he was saying about like Timothy was willing to take that risk with somebody who didn't have it, but we were saying that women would not take that risk. Ordinarily, women would not.
Some women, because I don't see women take a nursing home patient that he was a patient, but she took him home and married the man.
But
so it just depends on the woman.
But what was
They built something together,
was
though.
desperate.
Hold on. What was the
She
end
probably
goal?
was desperate. Ain't no
She
telling
probably
what
was
was
married.
I don't know. She was.
They got married.
No, I'm gonna tell you what it was. She knew that that man only had a few years left to live, and she was trying to get. She was trying to get in the wheel. She was trying to get in the wheel.
You know what? And
That
look,
landed
and
him
with
in the
that
nursing home.
foolishness,
She was getting that check.
and with that foolishness, and
Right.
with that foolishness,
Bye,
we
y'all.
gonna call it a night.
She was getting that check.
Look, this has been you, me, and the Trinity's Christ Connections and Conversations. Oh, we love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We thank Pastor Tim for coming in at the last minute. Y'all, I called him like 30 minutes before. I was like, hey, what you doing? And we appreciate everybody who rocks with us. We love you guys. Thank you to Victor. You've been rocking with us too. Thank you to DeVale and OJ and Otis. He got kicked off. Our new people. We love y'all for real in real life. And y'all be blessed.
Have a good week.
Amen.